The crisp mountain air of Davos buzzed with anticipation as the world's most powerful leaders, thinkers, and business titans gathered for the annual World Economic Forum. This year, however, there was a different kind of electricity in the air, a sense that something unpredictable was about to unfold. President Donald Trump arrived in dramatic fashion, leading the largest American delegation in the forum's history. The arrival of Air Force One, the motorcade, and the sea of security signaled that this would be no ordinary summit. His presence was magnetic, instantly shifting the focus from the usual themes of global cooperation and shared progress to the spectacle of his return. Cameras flashed, journalists jostled for position, and the world's attention zeroed in on the showman. Trump's approach was unmistakable. He favored bold, unilateral declarations over careful dialogue. He spoke not to build consensus but to assert dominance and make headlines. Allies and adversaries alike watched with a mix of curiosity and concern, uncertain whether he would use this global stage to mend fences or double down on his signature America First agenda. Instead of offering reassurance, Trump delivered a display of raw power and unfiltered rhetoric, commanding the stage with every gesture and word. His performance left no doubt. He was here to make an impact, not to compromise. Even the smallest details, like a bruised hand caught by the cameras, became global talking points, serving as metaphors for his blunt, forceful style and the bruising nature of his politics. The week was set. Trump would wield the hammer of will, not the scalpel of strategy, reshaping the conversation and leaving the world to wonder what his next move would be. Trump's performance at Davos was a striking display of power over subtlety, a deliberate choice to favor dominance over careful strategy. He approached diplomacy not as a patient art of negotiation, but as a high-stakes contest of strength, where winning was everything and compromise was weakness. His speeches were unapologetically bold, transactional in tone, and often dismissive of the idea that alliances were true partnerships. NATO, in particular, was painted as a costly burden that America alone was forced to shoulder. He didn't hesitate to publicly admonish America's allies, demanding they contribute more, and framing the alliance as a club of nations falling short on their obligations. This confrontational approach did yield some tangible results. NATO members did increase their defense spending, but it came at a cost, eroding trust and goodwill that had taken decades to build. Trump's hour-long speech at Davos was less about policy and more about performance, a victory lap, where he boasted of trillions in investments and settled wars, often making claims that stretched or ignored the facts. For the Davos elite, who were accustomed to careful deliberation and consensus building, it was a jarring shift, an embrace of power and spectacle over the slow, methodical work of strategy. The message was unmistakable. Trump's brand of deal-making and dominance would now take precedence over the traditions of slow, multilateral diplomacy. America's highest office was now engaging the world with a new, unpredictable playbook, one that prioritized spectacle, disruption, and the assertion of American interests above all else. Davos became Trump's stage for audacious claims and headline-grabbing gaffes. He quipped, "Sometimes you need a dictator, unsettling democratic leaders and fueling global unease." Trump boasted of settling more than 8 wars, a claim impossible to verify, and at odds with ongoing conflicts. His tactic make grand, vague statements that dominate headlines, leaving critics scrambling for facts. A repeated mix-up of Greenland and Iceland amid a real diplomatic spat highlighted his disregard for detail. These weren't isolated slips, they defined his style, bold, instinctive, and often fact-free. For many, this unpredictability from the world's most powerful office was deeply concerning. For Trump, trade was a weapon, not a partnership. He saw international agreements less as opportunities for mutual growth, and more as battlegrounds where America had to fight for every advantage. This approach marked a sharp departure from decades of U.S. policy, which had emphasized alliances and cooperation. He threatened Canada with 100% tariffs if it pursued a China deal, forcing a public denial and straining trust. The threat sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles, as allies wondered if they might be next. Suddenly, even America's closest partners felt on edge, unsure of what the next tweet or press conference might bring. Trump railed against green scams, misrepresenting China's wind energy and the UK's oil taxes to paint America as a victim. He argued that environmental policies abroad were designed to undermine US industry, fueling suspicion and resentment at home. These inaccuracies fueled a narrative of America under siege, justifying his confrontational tactics. The sense of crisis was amplified by dramatic headlines and public protests, making compromise seem like weakness. The result: deep uncertainty for global business leaders, who rely on stability to plan. Boardrooms across continents were suddenly filled with anxiety, as executives scrambled to predict the next move in an unpredictable trade war. Trump's economic nationalism, wielded through tariffs and threats, was seen as a major risk to global markets. Investors watched nervously as volatility spiked and the threat of new barriers loomed over international commerce. The Davos crowd saw not a strategy for prosperity, but a recipe for instability, one that could reshape the global order for years to come. Trump's Davos reception was a mix of public caution and private dismay. European leaders, champions of multilateralism, avoided open confrontation but subtly countered his rhetoric in their own speeches. The absence of key figures like Denmark's and Ukraine's leaders signaled quiet protest. Privately, diplomats worried Trump's transactional style was eroding decades of cooperation and isolating the U.S. Yet, many business leaders adapted, seeking private meetings to protect their interests. Davos became a split-stage public forums for global challenges, private audiences to curry Trump's favor. One man's style had reshaped the norms of international diplomacy. Trump dominated Davos, but his show of strength lacked a guiding strategy. Power, wielded without a plan, breeds instability and erodes trust. Short-term wins at the cost of long-term alliances. Allies bullied into compliance are unlikely to stand by America in future crises. The goodwill built over decades was spent freely, with little regard for its value. Without a roadmap, every interaction became a confrontation, making global cooperation nearly impossible. Trump's Davos performance is a cautionary tale. Power alone, without vision or strategy, leads to chaos and isolation. The world watched the showman command the stage, uncertain of the consequences that would follow.